Okay, I want to ask a little bit about the focus groups you helped conduct. What did you find with those, if you can remember, kind of general trends or research that you were able to find?
Well, we did them in, I think, 4 different parts of the state, and we had separate groups for men and women because it's best to have people in the room be with people they perceive as most like them, so they're not kind of covering their opinions. And we did them with what we tried to identify as moderate death penalty supporters. So in the recruitment tool that we engaged a professional company to use, we tried to kind of bring people out who didn't have really strong opinions about the death penalty either way, but identified themselves as supporters. And it was really interesting. I mean, some of the men were just so hardcore and to the point where they would say that they thought that executing an innocent person was a reasonable price to pay for maintaining the death penalty. On the other hand, we had people who seemed to kind of change their opinions as the focus groups wore on. I think probably the most interesting part of it was that we gave people like just short case descriptions, and asked them to write on a card what they thought the appropriate punishment should be in those cases, and they were real death penalty cases, and an overwhelming number chose a punishment other than the death penalty. So it showed, and yet they still could not extrapolate the details of that individual case to their support for the system overall. So I think it revealed to us that, again, people say they support the death penalty in the abstract, but when you really present them with information about a case, and particularly compelling information about the status of the defendant, in these cases, they were often, like, one was a juvenile offender, one had been represented by an attorney who slept through parts of his trial, and here in Texas, actually, and then I can't remember what the other one was, but in those cases, they could see how the system had failed those individuals, but they still felt that we needed the death penalty, it was fair punishment, so I think it just showed that we really need to kind of bridge that gap between what happens in an individual case and the system overall, and you can't really separate the two like most people seem to do.